Vince Staples not listening to Illmatic and other hip-hop New York classics is disturbing.
Until I start rapping, even to this day, I ain't even gonna front. I ain't never heard no Nas album, no Jay-Z album. On the downbeats, no Nas, no Jay-Z, no none of the first.
You never heard it?
Because, well, why? Where are we gonna hear it at?
What up, words? Your boy Charles Brown back again talking facts. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hold up, West Coast. Hold up before we go too far with this. I need y'all to understand that I know the clip is old, and I want to say this is not necessarily against Vince Staples. This is about the youth in hip-hop who are carrying the torch, who are going to lead hip-hop to where it is, and why I feel like they're lacking in that department. Now, Vince Staples, listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm just seeing this clip now of Vince Staples on a podcast with what appeared to be Joey Badass. But Vince Staples said that he's never heard Illmatic or Ready to Die. And here's why. When they started asking him why. Because it came out when he was young. He's from the West Coast, and the people around him was playing E40 Too Short. He never needed to or wanted to hear Biggie or Nas. He never listened to their albums, and he didn't really, to this day, hear any of their albums in their totality. Now, it's more than one way to look at that, but the reason I brought that up is because I feel like a lot of these youth think like that. A lot of these youth think like Vince Staples, that they don't need to hear the classics. They can just bury themselves or consume what's right around them and in their area, and that's all they need to know. And I'm going to do that. If I'm West Coast, I'm just going to listen to Cube. I'm going to listen to Too Short. I'm going to listen to Ice-T. I got it. I got hip hop. I got it. Right. If I'm New York, I'm just going to listen to Fat Joe, Big Pun. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep in New York. I'm going to listen to Raekwon, Run DMC, LL Cool J. I got hip hop. I got it. If you're down south, you're like, oh, Outkast, Scarface, Ludacris, right? Future. I got it. I got hip hop. I got it, right? But me, I can't imagine myself boxing myself in with just my local, my coast. And now I got it. And I think that's what these kids are doing now. And I'm using Vince Staples as an example because I feel like they're just consuming enough to get a good rap out. And that's why you have this stuff sounding so generic and so basic and so uninspired, right? Because they're not even reaching back to the classics no more. They're just going with what's as close as what's the newest. They're not even going 5 years back. Like some of these guys' first experiences with rap is Drake 6 years ago. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to imagine if I'm not listening to classic music from different areas, different locations, different artists, my bubble's going to be mad small. I'm going to have a tiny window of what I feel hip-hop is supposed to be. And it's going to reflect in my music. My music is going to be extremely limited and low-key weak, to be honest with you. You're going to have a culture of unprepared MCs or rappers or artists that don't understand what they're actually doing and don't understand what the culture is about. I feel like, if anything, you have to go back and immerse yourself in what we do and why we do this. Even if you're talking about New York, you got to understand that. You can't be a master of something that you don't know where it actually comes from and why they were doing it. They did hip hop in New York because the gang violence was out of control. They were doing hip hop. They were competing in other ways other than killing each other. It had gotten so bad that they were literally beating up each other every single day. And hip hop became a way to get away from that. Certain people in the business, it wasn't a business at the time, certain people in the culture were setting it up where we can compete without violence. And that spawned a lot of other things. The dancing, the spray painting, the rapping, all of that, the DJing, all of that was steeped in competition, which all ended up as one thing that we ended up calling hip hop. If you don't know that and you think rapping is just to make money, then you are not part of the culture. I'm sorry to tell you that. If you think just because you're nice and you can put words together and that's going to get you paid, you're probably not about this culture. You're about yourself, but you're not about this culture. And someone like Vince Staples, I don't know what his motivations are. But I know if you haven't really listened to the classics, you haven't went back and listened to the special eds and the Run DMCs and this and that, and you haven't listened to a full album of something we consider 5 mic classics, the structure of a 5 mic album, why we say it's that, then you're missing out. And you probably don't understand what the culture is really about. I actually remember Vince Staples saying he hated people when they said the culture. He couldn't stand. I hate people say do it for the culture. I remember him saying that. He was sick of that. Which I feel like some of these things, when these young artists say, they tell on who they really are inside. And I feel like they got disdain to a degree for anything that's kind of accepted within our culture. Some of them don't like it. They want to play outside of the culture. They want to do their own thing, which is fine. You're supposed to. You're supposed to be your own person. But I feel like to some degree, some of the things that we revere, some of the younger artists could care less about. And that's why we have this divide where we're thinking they're trash and they're thinking we're old and dusty. I think the only way to really make this work between the youth and the older people, the youth in a lot of ways have created something different. They're not taking their cues from Run DMC and LL Cool J and Beastie Boys and Rick Rubin and all of that stuff like that. Right? They're not taking their cues from that. They're taking their cues from right now in the last 5 years. And if they haven't heard it in the last 5 years, or it didn't pop or it didn't blow, and they're saying Sexy Red is the best song of the year. Ski is song of the year. This is where it's going, bro. This is where it's going. Ice Spice is one of the most popping rappers, right? It's a great time to be a female rapper, right? Coi Leray, this is what they're doing. But at the end of the day, they are creating a lane that is not steeped in the culture of hip hop. Let's just be honest. So let's start calling it something else, and then we won't have no problem with it. But as long as you come out with a record, right? A drill record or whatever kind of record that has little to no hip hop value to it, for lack of a better word, that should be that. And it shouldn't be under the umbrella of what we feel like hip hop is. I'm just sorry to tell you. If you haven't learned what hip hop is and you don't respect the culture, you don't respect the artists that came before you, you're not listening to their full albums, you're not listening to their music, you don't know what they talked about, you don't know the culture they came from, you don't know what they've been through, you don't know why they did what they did, then you're really not a part of this culture. You're a part of that. Something else. So we need to name it something else. So you guys can go on about your way and we don't have to keep bothering you about what we're doing over here. I'm just sorry to tell you. So once we understand that these kids, these younger guys really aren't going back and watching documentaries. They're not going back to watch Wild Style, Breakin', Beat Street, Crush Groove, for Disorderlies. They're not going back seeing Who's the Man and all this stuff. They're not going back to watch it, and they're not being exposed to it. This is literally black culture. This is hip hop culture. And you're not being exposed to it. You're just coming in on some right now, let's get this bag, let's get this money. Then that's not hip hop. I'm sorry. Get this bag, get this money with no substance is not hip hop. So name it something else and we can move forward. As far as Vince Staples, he's a great rapper. Some of his stuff is good. I've listened to some of his stuff. It's good. I listen to whole albums of his, actually. Some of his albums are short, yada, yada. But I've always felt that there was something like a little bit of a twinge of like, I don't want to say arrogant, because you got to kind of be arrogant to be a rapper. But it was a kind of, I don't really give a F about none of that, what y'all talking about. I'm going to do what I want to do. And what I'm doing is what I'm doing, and it's popping. And I'm really not going to follow any guidelines. I don't care. I don't really care. And that's okay. You're supposed to not care to a degree. But end of the day, there is a flag. There is a torch. There is homage to be paid. And when artists don't do that, it's kind of sad. And it's kind of a betrayal to this culture. And I'm going to leave it at that. CLBMG. Maybe you know more about me, more than I do, because like I said, the clip was 5 years old. I think I said that. The clip was 5 years old. It's an old clip. And maybe he's progressing. Maybe he's listening to Illmatic, and maybe he, you know what I'm saying, he could give line for line. Maybe he know line for line, Ready to Die, and Life After Death. Maybe he knows all this stuff line for line by now. I have no idea, but I don't know. CLBMG. Get in the comments. Let me know what you think. My name is Charles Brown. Go over to CLBMG. Check out the Mixdown show. Check out the What show. We got hip-hop music over there. Hip-hop music over there. I just dropped part 2 of Retold Volume 2. That's part 2 of Retold. I got music with Lorenzo the Butcher. I got music with The Ugly Professor. Just a whole lot of music. Just Mug Kids, which is 90s classics. Bugsy Black. A whole lot of stuff going on. All right? I'm going to catch you on the flip side. Peace.
CLB.